Hi, everyone. Welcome to Music 220, Worlds of Music. My name is Kevin Schwant. I'm an ethnomusicologist and musicologist. I teach at Augsburg, Hamlin, and the University of Minnesota this semester. Um, I want to take a couple of minutes in this video to sort of walk through how we're going to run the class asynchronously online, um, talk through the syllabus, talk through the Moodle site, and talk about the assignments that you should be paying attention to right now. Uh, every week, I'm hoping to create a video like this to kind of welcome you to the week, and most of the work then will be done via Moodle through forums and other assignments that I'll give you week by week. So let's start actually by looking at the Moodle site. So this should look fairly familiar to most people. There's not a lot on it right now, but it'll get built up as we move forward in the class. There's a link to the syllabus right now, which I'm going to go through momentarily. I've also given you a book by Bruno Nettel, who is a well-known ethnomusicologist. And have a full PDF of the entire book, The Study of Ethnomusicology, which is kind of an overview of some of the issues that arise in ethnomusicology, which is the study essentially of music and culture. And I might, as we go along, I might reference it or ask you to read a chapter from the book or something like that as we go along. But I also just want you to have it there as a resource. As you can see, then the course is arranged by week. We already have a few things that you should be looking at in week one. Um, I will post the slides. I'm going to show you some slides momentarily, but when I do that, I will post the slides here so you can see them as well. I'll talk a little bit about um, uh, the Cedar Cultural Center volunteer opportunities a little bit later. It looks like maybe I don't have one of the forums published yet, so as soon as I'm done with the video, I will go ahead and do that to make sure that's up there. And then your first assignment for the week. Um, I'll get back to those assignments in a little bit, but I want to go to the syllabus, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. But let's see here. But we do need to review some of the policies. So I'm using Canva for a lot of my materials, simply because it's easier for me to change things, and if I change things, they then will be just changed for you if you have the link to them. Um, uh, the syllabus, the policies of the syllabus are not changeable at this stage. This is a contract between you and me. Um, but you'll see that as the way that I write some of my policies, there is a little bit of wiggle room. And all I ask is that you try to communicate with me if something isn't working, so that we can address it and fix it. I realize also that I have the wrong designation up here, but I will fix that as well. There is no textbook for this class. The closest thing we have is that Bruno Nettel book that I put on Moodle. Um, but instead, I'll be providing you with materials to look at and to listen to and to watch. So our goal in this class is really to talk about music as it is practiced globally. There are a lot of problems in the sentence that I just said because music is not practiced the same way globally. Um, so I will be, we're not going to be doing a full survey of every type of music in the world. That would be impossible, and it would also be disrespectful to the musical traditions from around the world because we can't spend enough time to really fully understand them. So instead, um, I will be arranging the material sort of thematically. And for each theme, we can then sort of explore how that theme is reflected in different cultures in the world. Uh, so we're not going to go continent by continent or something like that. And we'll talk more later on about why that approach to world music can be kind of problematic. But instead, I'll be drawing examples to illustrate themes as we go through the course. All right. So our goals are to develop critical writing, listening, reading, and thinking skills. Um, and in particular, to understand the dynamic relationship between music and culture, and thinking about communities and identities. I'll be using those terms a lot and thinking about what do those terms actually mean within the context of music. So I need to really emphasize this sort of blanket content warning that I've given you. In this class, we're going to be talking about a lot of different cultures, and as we do that, uh, I need you to be sort of self-reflective and understand how you are situated in the world, what your lived experiences are, and how they might be different from the lived experiences of other people, um, so that you can approach difference and different practices from different parts of the world um, from a position of respect and uh, the desire to understand better. We'll be exploring things together. I am not, even though I am an ethnomusicologist, I am not an expert on every musical practice in the world. Nobody is. Um, so that means that we are exploring together, and to do that, we need to make sure that we're being respectful of the traditions that we talk about. Generally speaking, I don't really have a late work policy. I just don't really accept it um, unless there is a good reason. So this gets to sort of one of the themes of this syllabus, which is that you need to communicate with me. Um, if you don't turn something in on time, don't just assume that I'm going to give you credit for it. You need to communicate with me why it's going to be late. Um, throughout the course, uh, talking to me or emailing me more specifically is always going to be your best bet. Because if I don't know why you've suddenly disappeared, I have to assume that you've simply chosen not to be here and not to contribute to the class, not to turn in your work. Um, so just communicate with me. Academic honesty. Um, obviously, if I catch any sort of plagiarism, that you will certainly fail that assignment, and you may simply fail the class. So just avoid that. There's no reason for it. I'm not going to give you any task that I think is too onerous, that you can't complete it yourself. Um, accommodations, feel free to contact me, but also go through the Disability Resources Office if you have any accommodations that might affect this class. Um, the Title IX statement, hopefully you are aware of all the resources that you have at Augsburg. Um, communication with the instructor. So just email me. I check my email very frequently. If I don't respond to you, it means I just missed it somehow. So just email me again. I do not have an on-campus office. Obviously, this is an online class, so that wouldn't matter really anyway for this class. But um, feel free to email me. We'll set up a time to talk. Yeah, if that changes and I have a standard, Zoom office hour, which I might do, I'll notify you. Please make sure that you are prepared and you participate. This is an asynchronous class, so you can do this really on your own time, but I've designed it within these sort of week-long chunks. So make sure that you're caught up each week. I will hopefully have a video for you every Monday. Hopefully it'll be a relatively short video, but just sort of going through what are the materials that we need to take care of during the week. By the time I give that video, hopefully you will have completed the work from the previous week. And that is also participation. Participation obviously is going to be measured through uh, the online forums, as well as other work that we do during class. Um, absences shouldn't be an issue. because this is online. But again, always communicate with me. Um, this says in-class work, but this really is in the context of this modality. That refers to written assignments that I give you during the week, as well as the forum. Um, so in keeping with also the content that we're going to be discussing, we want to be respectful of those traditions. We also want to be respectful of each other. So as you know, as I sort of supervise the forums, if I see any instance of any type of bullying or um, uh, offensive behavior, I'm going to have to call that out. So I'm going to have to be paying attention. If I don't catch something, let me know, so that I can address it. All right. So I think at this point, I'm going to switch over to my slides, where I'm going to talk a little bit about the graded work as well as some other ideas for the class. All right, so music 220 Worlds of Music. So I've already sort of welcomed you to the class. In terms of introductions, I've introduced myself to you. Your assignment, one part of your assignment for this week, is to introduce yourselves to each other. Um, so I want to get just highlight a few things about the syllabus and the schedule. Um, on September 23rd at the Cedar Cultural Center, which is just down the street from Augsburg, they're having the Global Roots Festival, which is a series of free concerts that I think can be incredibly valuable to this class. On that day, I have another section of this class that meets in person, and they are going to go to this concert. Um, I would like as many of you as possible to go to it as well. Obviously, this is an online class, so I can't really require it, but I'm going to strongly suggest it. And if you can't go, the week of September 23rd, you'll have a different project. Um, but hopefully, you can all go on September 23rd. It's a really valuable experience, I think, and students have really enjoyed it when I've done it before. Um, so I want to talk about the graded work, and it looks like a lot. It looks like a lot of stuff. But in a class like this, I want you to be coming at the material from as many different directions as you can. So one is simply participation and attendance. That's 20% of the grade. Again, that means that you are actively participating in the forums and you're doing the weekly writings, which is the second bullet point here. 10% are the in-class writings. That's the written work that I ask you to do each week. Then there is a secondary research report, which I'll describe in a little bit more detail in a minute. Then the event at the Cedar is 5% of the grade. Again, if you can't attend that event, I will come up with a different project for you. Separate from the Cedar event um, is another event report, which is 10% of your grade. I'll talk more about that as well. But basically, I want you to be attending something and a musical event of some kind, um, and reflecting on it. The Music in the World Journal is 15%. There's a final project that's 20%. And then reading quizzes, if I need to use them, um, would be 10%. If I decide I don't really need to do reading quizzes, then you're just going to automatically get that 10%. I will use a reading quiz if it appears that I'm not getting if it appears that you're not reading. So hopefully that won't be an issue. Okay, so I want to talk about some of the assignments that you should be thinking about right now. Um, so the secondary research report. I want you to choose a topic. I don't care what it is, as long as it has to do with music. So it could be a cultural tradition, a song. individual concept, um, and you're going to locate three peer-reviewed sources. And we'll talk more about that as we kind of get further into the semester. But these are, I want you to be finding academic sources. I want you to be reading academic literature for the secondary research report. And then you're going to synthesize at least three of those sources into kind of a mini literature review. So again, I'm going to talk more about this in the future, but you might want to be thinking about what's just a musical idea or a musical concept that you're curious about that you want to explore more. The event report. So this is again separate from the Cedar Cultural Center event. You're going to find some event to go to. So it could be something that is, like a formal concert of some kind. It could be just live music at a coffee shop. It could be a religious service. Um, if there's music involved in the religious service, that that is a musical event. So it's up to you what you want to do. Um, but also be thinking about that. Look around online to see if there are shows you might want to go to, or uh, live music that might be at a coffee shop or a bar or whatever. It doesn't matter. I will. I'll scour some um, events, and I'll also list some events that I'm able to locate. But you should feel free to be looking for your own. Music in the World Journal. um, I would like you to create a document. I'll talk more about this later, I think. And maybe we won't worry about it too much for the first week. But I'm going to be asking you to be cognizant of how music uh, is present in your daily life. So as you're just going around doing your business, I want you to be aware of when music is contributing to whatever it is that you're doing. So that could be you go to the gym, you listen to music while you're at the gym. It could be you're walking down the street and you're hearing some music from somebody's car. It could be you intentionally play music to fall asleep. Whatever it might be, um, I'm going to ask you to kind of keep a record of that during the semester. I'll talk more about this probably next week, but you can start doing it now. Just use a Word document or something, or a Google Doc, or whatever it is, or a notebook, and do it by hand. And just, at the end of the day, kind of think back to your day and just sort of write down when music occurred. I'll give more details about that in a minute. All right. So, the volunteer opportunity at the Cedar Cultural Center. I will be offering extra credit if you volunteer at the Cedar Cultural Center. Um, it's a great experience and it's right there. So I'm focusing a lot on the Cedar because it is a, a a world class music center that is right in the neighborhood of Augsburg. Um, so there is a link on Moodle um, for volunteering. Take a look at the link. Think about whether or not you might want to do that, and I'll give more details, in upcoming weeks about how we'll work the extra credit. I haven't quite decided how I want to do that yet. Um, but even without the extra credit, it is a great opportunity because you get to, first of all, see how a place like that is run, but you also get to, attend these great concerts. If you volunteer for a concert, you're also hearing the concert. So consider that. Take a look at the volunteer opportunities at the Cedar. Okay, so for next week, there I have a couple of forms. It looked like when earlier on, it looked like I maybe didn't have one of them up or something, but I will get that fixed. Uh, so just everything's going to be in Moodle. So if you're keeping up to date with the weekly Moodle assignments, you should be in good shape. All right. So I hope that you have a really good first week of classes, first half week, I guess. Um, and be looking for another video shortly. But in the meantime, do the forums and the other stuff in Moodle. All right, thanks. Bye.